What's up, guys? It's the League Dad here, and welcome to another episode of the All In Podcast, a podcast for casual leaguers. Today we have patch 9.11 notes. They've been released, so we're going to do a rundown on that. But joining me today is Kevin Shee, Style on him 123, and Nighthawk. You guys know all of them. They are regulars on the show, so I'm glad to have them here again. How you guys doing? Y'all doing well?
Yeah, doing pretty
fantastic.
Game's been going all right. All right. I don't want to waste too much fluff time because I want to jump right into this. But before we get into the patch notes, first thing I wanted to talk about, because I'm sure many of you who are listening have probably wanted to hear our thoughts. I know you're dying to hear our thoughts on. But what do you guys think about Yuumi, newest champion that's been released? What do you think as far as have you played her? What have you seen on your team, on the enemy team? Good, bad, the ugly. Let me know what are your initial impressions on the cat right now. Let's start with you, Kevin.
So, as I don't know if I mentioned on the show before, if I was just ranting to you, I think Yuumi is quite good. I think that when they buffed her, it was way too soon. I thought that, yes, the win was low, but I think she's just super viable. She scales well. If you actually take the right runes on her, she's like okay in the early game. A lot of people didn't know that her dash isn't an immunity. Like when she dashes to her teammate, it's actually just a dash that can be interrupted. So I saw a lot of ints from that, but I think that as people get used to it and get used to the not AF catting all around, I think that she's just pretty good, and I think she's a little overtuned, if anything. I think that we might see her pretty often during the first week of LCS. Nerfed. I mean, I think that she's going to get nerfed a little bit, but I think that this is just Riot's idea of like, hey, this is a unique playstyle. Let's make her really overtuned so that people get used to her. They play her, and then, I mean, I think that's a fine balance choice. I just think that
I know that when she was first released, like the very next day, not even the next day, like a few hours into Reddit, people were like, oh my gosh, she's so like weak and she has like a 30% win rate or whatever it was, and so they hot fixed her, they quote unquote hot fixed her and buffed some of her stats, and I think she's been doing really well. And I think, again, like you said, it's a totally different play style, and people are going to get used to it, and so that's kind of the thing they have to do here. I know there were references to Thresh, how in the beginning people didn't know what that lantern was, and even to this day people still don't know what that lantern is, and they don't click it. So it was like kind of the same thing, people didn't understand how to play that champion, and as people got better, win rates got better, etc., etc. Style, what are your thoughts on Yuumi so far?
I ban her every game. Because I don't.
Me too.
Not because I don't want my team to have it, because I don't want their team to have it. Because it's actually broken. Like when it first came out, I would ban it so my team wouldn't get her. And now I ban it so their team won't get her.
Yeah, same.
So either way, she gets banned.
Yeah, I like that. No, it's a good point. At first, I was the same thing. I was like, okay, she sucks. Let them play her, please. That is a free win. But now I'm actually banning Yuumi over Nautilus, believe it or not, just because I feel like I can outplay a Nautilus. And the rest of my team knows what Nautilus does, so they can at least avoid getting killed. I've seen some pretty nasty combos with Yuumi so far. What about you, Nighthawk? What do you think about Yuumi?
When she first came out, I was pretty whelmed. She seemed like she was pretty bad.
Whelmed.
Yeah, not overwhelmed.
Not overwhelmed. Just whelmed. Gotcha.
It was a cool idea. I really liked the idea of a support that really could last throughout the entire fight without getting focused down and killed instantly. I feel like a lot of Enchanter supports struggle with that, or if they get caught, they kind of just dead. So having an Enchanter support that has the ability to pretty much stay alive the entire fight until the very end, unless something goes dreadfully wrong, was pretty neat. I agree with most of you that she was probably not as bad as most people thought when she first came out, but I do think she was pretty garbage. But after the hotfix, I think she's pretty good. I don't know if she's broken, but I think she's pretty good. I had a chance to play with a couple of the guys who actually designed her and worked on her, so they showed off the skill pretty well. I think one game, one of the guys went 5-0 and 32 or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
Which was pretty insane. So that felt pretty cool. But
no, I mean, I think it's one of those things, and to be honest, this is my opinion, right? I think you are going to have to learn this champion, and I think it's going to be one of those champs that if you're proficient with Yuumi and you've played a lot of games with Yuumi, you're going to be devastating support. You're not going to want to play against that type of Yuumi. However, if you have a Yuumi who hasn't played that much and is just, trying to pick her up, I don't think they'll be as good. Kind of like how Thresh is, obviously a skilled champ. The better you get in skill wise, the better Thresh becomes. So I do think that that's going to be one of the things that we're going to see with Yuumi. And I do believe that, with Riot, they need to kind of like let the games marinate a little bit. Let people learn the champ before they tune it and tweak it and make any drastic changes. But I think they're in the right spot now that people are getting better. We're seeing her get kind of strong, and so we'll see where they go from there. But yeah, I do agree she's not as tough as Thresh, but still I think it's going to be a different playstyle, so something else to learn. All right, that said, we'll bring you more Yuumi stuff in future episodes, but we're going to go ahead and jump into the patch notes. Patch 9.11. Guys, I'm going to let y'all lead off here. Anybody can jump in. What do you think the biggest or most important change is in 9.11, and let's talk about that first. So anybody can jump right in there, and you guys can tell me if you agree or not.
Probably if we're just going by like actual amount of change, I guess the Zac revert.
Okay,
I would agree.
Probably what I'd say would be the biggest change.
All right,
I know Kevin said he had a lot of things to talk about with this, so I'll let him say.
All right, I'll keep it short. So I used to be a Zac main. I was number 1 Zac in NA at some point.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
On low skill. So that
okay.
But I think that it's a really cool change. I really like the old Zac ult. Like the new one's fine, but it just felt a little odd.
Mm-hmm.
My problem is that they nerfed it. They nerfed it from what it used to be. It used to have like a lot of interactions that I could go on and on about, like how I used to spawn a blob on cast, and every time you hit one, it would do another blob. Now it's like way different. I'm not a big fan of how they did it, and they lowered the power of his Q, so that's also kind of shitty.
I'm gonna pull it up right now.
Not a huge fan of like. I mean, they added I don't know. They added an AP ratio.
Mm-hmm.
They added it back. It used to have
reverted it back. But like my point is like there's just not. I mean, you could go AP Zac.
So I think that this is a good it's a groundwork of change that they're putting in. It's a very big change to his ult, obviously. Changing it from the garbage that it was before to back to what it is now. I don't think he'll be like very good right now, but I do think they'll have the data that they need to then next patch or the patch afterwards make the tweaks that they want to actually make him good. I think we'll probably see the slow come back on his Q a little bit, maybe a little bit more damage on his ult, or maybe the blobs come back on his ult or something like that. But as of right now, I don't think he's that good.
So let's clarify real quickly. This is basically the old ult that he used to have. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
there's a few changes. They made the interactions with it a little differently. The bounce back is now smaller, and it's not technically smaller. It's technically smaller, not smaller because of like anything that they did. They changed how pushbacks worked because of instead of going from the edge of the model, they now go from the very center of the model.
Okay.
So it's a little wonky. That at the end of the day, what happens is they get pushed back a little less, and you don't get as many blobs. So it's kind of a nerf.
It's just a big pain. I don't like it.
So Kevin, with you, being playing a lot of Zac, did you prefer the old ult compared to what the ult was, and now they're kind of reverting it back? What are your thoughts on what did you think was better for this champion, and what would you prefer?
So the old ult was, in my opinion, more consistent because like even if you missed your jump, you just flash pop your ult or you pop your ult, and you can like automatically get a free knockup, which like a quick knockup is really useful, especially because it's guaranteed, and it can also like discount insect someone into your team. It was super good. The new ult was cool and super showy on stage. Like it was so cool to see like 3 people scooped up and get destroyed, right?
Yeah.
But it was super, like anyone with half a brain can flash.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even just walk out of it.
Yeah, so like I didn't like the new ult. Like I gained more elo with it, but I was like, just give me back my big playmaking ult where I can hop around and disrupt the team fight. Because if you screw up that ult once, you just feel so stupid. You're just like
but you look cool. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I liked that it could be super playmaking. I just thought that there was no way to balance that ult. That ult could either become one of the strongest CCs in the game if it didn't have like counterplay, or just people would just flash or dash out of it. So
well,
I like it going back.
Okay. Well, let me just read what their thought process. They put this in the patch notes just so to give you guys some context on what Riot's thinking. But they said this. They said, we've been following some excellent conversations regarding where Zach landed after his rework in 2017. After assessing players' feedback, we ultimately decided that we went too far in pulling damage out of him in our quest for more CC-laden tank. We agree that part of Zach's pattern of diving the backline and doing damage is core to who he is as a champ. Unfortunately, Zach players felt that after diving in, he wasn't able to accomplish anything more than just knocking people around. With that in mind, they're reverting his reworked ultimate and W. So let me go over Q and W. So they changed a little bit of this. So Q, they nerfed it. It looks like the slow has gone down from 60% to 40%. The cooldown actually scales down better. Still starts at 13, but now it scales down to 7 seconds, so slightly lower cooldown there. And then W, they added a damage ratio, so 2% target max health per 100 ability power. So there's a lot of things going on here, and I think that's why we brought it up first. If you're a Zac player, then you're definitely going to have a lot of tinkering to do here playing with it. But is there anything else you guys wanted to throw in the mix of Zac and where you think he'll land in 9.11 as far as like the meta? Do you think this will improve him, keep him the same, make him worse? What do you guys think?
I think that Aftershock is going to be, like, it was already the way to go for him, but I think it's going to be a lot better now too, because the ult is so much better with Aftershock, because you're disrupting everything in their team fight, and then you're also have 140 armored MR and they can't do anything about it. So it's going to make it a lot more reliable to proc on him, because before, if you didn't land the E, I don't think you procced Aftershock with the ult until they actually got moved. So it made you a lot more
vulnerable,
squishy and vulnerable until you actually get that proc off. So now it's a little easier to proc it, which is a good thing to know.
I also don't remember the numbers from back then, but I think the ult might do more damage because it's 140 to 280 damage with 0.4 AP ratio, and it does 4 bounce per bounce. And
but bounces on the same target take less
50%. Yeah, which is like still like not bad though. Like 280 times 420 or plus 420, 700 base damage.
I think it's the same, or at least very similar, because I know Freak was talking about it being pretty much the exact same ult as before.
Yeah, I assume they would just take the old numbers. So yeah, we'll see. But I'll lab it and tell you how. I feel.
That's what I was wondering. I was gonna ask you, are you gonna pick him up and see how he is?
Yeah, for
All
sure.
Right, cool.
For sure.
Well, we'll get a fact check report then from Kevin to see how his testing is going with Zac there. Okay, cool. All right, what do you guys think is the next thing we should talk about on patch notes? What's the next biggest change you think?
The Jace nerf is pretty big.
All right, let's take a look at that. Jace, if you guys know or have played against him, he's a top lane bully, so it looks like they're nerfing him some more. So Q base damage decreased late, damage ratio decreased. His Q, his shock blast, was at 70, scaling up to 320. Now it's 70, and it scales up to 295. So the scaling has been, or the base damage has been decreased. And the damage ratio was 1.2 bonus attack damage. Now it's just flat 1 bonus attack damage. Does this make a big difference? I don't really know the numbers, but I mean, does this actually nerf?
I think Jace gets around 300 to 400 AD late game.
Okay.
Not quite sure exactly what the average number is, but it's around there. So you're losing, that's around 200 bonus AD.
Yeah,
so you're losing about
AD,
you're losing about 40 damage on top of the 30, 25. So you're losing about 55 damage per Q, and I think that's not counting the accelerated shock blast version too.
Yeah, which multiplies the amount you're losing.
Yeah, so you're losing between 50 to 60 to I believe 120-ish. So it's a pretty big nerf.
Yeah, so this is the reason why this is a big deal. It's not because like Jace was lacking in the early game, like he's losing 5 damage in 0.2 early game, doesn't matter. The problem was Jace was oppressive because he could win most early games, if not all, especially at a pro level. And then once he got to late game, he was still somewhat relevant because he actually had decent ratios in a lot of his kit. Like that's the reason why you saw Jace getting 100% pick ban at MSI at the highest level. It's really oppressive. I don't know if Jace needed that nerf though. I almost never see Jace in my games. I just think that this might be a pro specific nerf because they saw the MSI patch.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
all right.
I believe that he's one of those champions that is just decent in most elos, and then at the very, very highest level of play, he's really oppressive. So
yeah. I hardly don't see him either. Yeah, it's true. Okay.
It's a pretty big nerf for low elo people because now they're gonna suck even more.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk about what style. Why don't you pick one? What should we talk about next? What are you most fascinated about after the two that we've talked about?
I think the fact that Galio mid might come back is pretty good.
Take a look at that.
I think Galio mid will come back because they upped his AP ratios. Is it AP ratios? Yeah.
Yeah. So let's read it real quick. So W base damage decreased, damage ratio increased, his E damage is decreased. So the W shield of Duran minimum damage was 20, scaling to 60 plus 0.2 ability power. Now it starts at 10 and scales up to 50, but it has a higher scaling, which is 0.3 ability power. Maximum damage was 60 to 180 plus 0.6. Now it's 30 to 150 plus 0.9. So again, they nerfed the base damage, increased the scaling. E Justice Punch, the damage got nerfed. I'm sorry, not nerfed. Yeah, it got nerfed early from 100. It used to be 100 to 240. Now it's 80 to 240. So
basically a nerf.
Yeah, so what do you think? What do you think? Style? You said you think mid Galio.
I think mid Galio will come back. I mean, I'm not saying I think it will definitely come back. I've even seen I was watching Yasuo's stream today, and I saw at least like 3 or 4 Galio mids.
Interesting.
And, the break-even point on the W is only 100 AP, so it's pretty easy to reach that on mid Galio. And anything after 100 AP is a buff to the damage.
Yeah. An increase of 0.3 is still pretty big.
Okay,
so I think you get your first 100 AP about 15 to 20 minutes into the game because you need your first item plus your runes. So his laning phase will be even weaker than it was before. Like he won't have kill pressure by himself, but usually his.
It also reduces his wave clear a little bit because is the E? I think E's max last, right?
E's max last is QW, I think, because E just
all
E does is give you damage. It doesn't give you cooldown, if I remember correctly.
So this is a nerf to the E wave clear, where you just saw him Q and E to clear wave.
Yeah, Q, E auto
it will be a little weaker.
Clear. So if someone could do the do like a practice tool or something, and see if that actually like full clears a wave still at like a reasonable time, that will probably
it does clear the wave at like level 7, level 8.
Okay.
Which is where ideally most champs clear like a wave. Lux clears the wave like level 8, level 7, level 8. Victor clears it level 7, level 8.
So maybe
like
it's on
most
par.
of the control mages clear it like level 7, level 8.
Okay.
I think the only exceptions, there's like only few exceptions to champions that can't clear a wave by like level 8, like level 7, level 8, and they can do it by like at least level 9, level 10. So things like Swain, I think, take a bit longer because it only hits the first 3 minions.
Yeah.
And it has to kill the first 3 minions for it to go through. But I think, It's not going to be Galio where it was first, right? Where you could just press, you could clear a wave, level 4, level 5, by just pressing Q and E.
Yeah.
It was actually like, it was broken. Like, you can do the same thing with Victor, right? Because Victor was so overtuned where you could get your first hex core, like first back, and you could clear waves just from 1E.
Yeah.
And I think that was super overtuned. But like this, I don't think it's super overtuned, and they didn't even touch the Q, right? So it's basically just the W. So I think it'll be good into like melee matchups.
Okay. Well, then I guess we'll have to see. So you think he'll be brought back into the mid lane? Do you think he'll be?
Oh, I know for sure. Like especially in NA, I've seen so many Galio players and playing him.
But do you think he'll be good in the mid lane?
I think Galio will always be a good pick, especially in pro play, because just because of the ult. Because you can do things like if you have a mid jungle duo queue, you can just do things like aggressively counter jungle because you know your duo is gonna ult you, right?
Just follow you. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And you literally just press R and you're there.
All right, who's trying to do that with me after this? I've been jungling a lot. I can't guarantee we'll win, but
I've got to make dinner, but maybe after.
I was kidding.
I don't even play. I don't think I even own Galio on NA.
Really? Oh, on NA. Okay.
On NA.
Okay.
The only
all right.
champ I don't own on EU is Yuumi.
Okay, let's move on to let's talk about Yuumi. By the way, since we were just kind of talking about this, a new champ, they've kind of been tweaking her a bit. So let's talk about the changes they made now with the patch. They did buff her mid-patch last patch to kind of fix up that win rate, but let's see what they did in 9.11. So the Q range indicator brightness adjusted, quality of life change there. W now gives assist
Aren't they all
when
quality
she
of life
first
changes?
attaches. Maybe E movement speed decay flatten, lots of bug fixes. Yeah, like basically looks like it. So QL changes and bug fixes. All right, so they didn't actually
The
buff her.
E-Phage was technically a little bit of a buff. What they did was the more AP she has, the less her E movement speed decays. So once you get later into the game, your E movement speed buff will last a little longer and be a little stronger. So it's not quite a quality of life buff, but it's definitely not huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and it looks like they just fixed a bunch of bugs. So, all right, so nothing there. I was under the impression it was going to be some buffs, but it looks like just some changes there. Any other champions y'all want to talk about next? Maybe Karthus, Amumu? What do you want to talk
think
about?
Janna's changes were big.
All right, let's talk about Janna. I actually like this. I haven't tried it, but I kind of like the direction they're going with this. Let me just read it real quick so that the listeners can get context, and then we'll discuss it. But so now the W cooldown, it scales. Base damage decrease late. E cooldown now decreases when Janna CCs enemies. That's kind of a cool interaction there. The cooldown is decreased early, increased late, shield increased. And basically it looks like they're trying to get her to be more interactive with her abilities, as opposed to right now she just feels like a poke, run up, press W, poke them kind of.
This is a nerf to all the E-girls.
Yeah,
No,
well, I mean, I really like it.
way.
But look at it. Okay, so W the Zephyr, right? The cooldown was just 8 seconds across the board. Now it's 8, but it scales down to 6, so a little bit faster. The base damage started at 55 and scaled to 235. Now it's 55 and it scales to 195. So the late game damage on that has been nerfed. The Eye of the Storm, her shield. Each ability that slows or knocks back an enemy champion, so your W or even your alt, reduces the shield's cooldown by 20%, which I think is pretty cool, and is going to be frustrating, I think, for a lot of players. But the cooldown was at 18, scaling down to 10 seconds. Now it's at 16, scales down to 12. But again, you have that ability to possibly lower that cooldown if you slow or knock back an enemy champion. The shield got buffed. It was at 70 going up to 210. Now it's 80 going up to 220. What do you guys think about this change, or even the direction that Riot seems to want to go with her? Do you think it's good, bad? What do you guys think about this? Because Janna's kind of like the meme, right? Like, I don't know how to play support, just play Janna and press E.
This is a personal attack on those autofill supports.
That's right. it may, you know what? And I'm okay for it. Now supports actually can't get memed so hard, maybe. But what do you guys think?
I mean, it's still gonna get. It's like they gave you Yuumi, right? And people started insulting the role even more. So now they need to cut back on insulting the role. So they need to give Janna like. So now Yuumi becomes the new Janna.
Yeah, the new Janna.
Janna becomes like semi. I wouldn't say she's semi like properly difficult, but I would say she's got like. So you have Yuumi right here at the bottom, and like a few steps up, you have Janna.
Steps up. Okay.
Yeah.
Well then, so Yuumi has now the crown for the lowest skill floor support. Is that what we're saying? I don't know. I don't agree with that, but that's what Josh is talking about. I don't agree with that. But
after watching Tyler 1 win the game where he puts his he goes onto someone playing Yuumi and then he just walks around like a degenerate and then wins the game.
One example.
Even after
I think there's a lot more. I think there's a lot more nuance to Yumi's kit than most people give her credit for.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's just kind of a meme right now because people are like, this is dumb. You don't do anything. But no, I agree with you, Nighthawk. I don't agree with Style. I think Style just has personal hate towards any kind of enchanter support. So what do you guys think, though? Nighthawk, Kevin, what do you guys think?
It does feel like Janna was sort of like the last bastion of support for a very basic champion that you can kind of just pick up and do well on as long as your AD carry is decent.
Yeah.
The autofill roll, so to speak, it does feel like they have nerfed that aspect of her kit. But I think this is a really nice buff to more skilled players who actually utilize the champion to its fullest ability. You'll see, you'll see a lot more ease. Like the shield will be up a lot more often now.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, every time you use your Zephyr or your Q and it actually lands, your ease on a force it reduces it by 4 to 8 seconds or 4 to 6 seconds.
No, it could,
which is insane.
Reduce all of it if you hit 5 people, right? If I'm doing,
if you ult in, it will reduce.
It says each ability that slows or knocks back an enemy.
5-man Q could get a shield back instantly, and a 5-man knockup afterward with your ult can also get.
Yeah. Is it per person?
Is it per champion though? It says an enemy champion. It doesn't say per.
It says each ability that knocks.
Yeah.
It's not enemy champion. I think even if you hit 5 people, it will still be.
I think it only still do it 20%.
It'll only be 20, really?
I don't know. That's a good question, but I think
I don't think it'll affect lane Janna much because how many times do you think to yourself, you know what? I got hit by this Janna Q. Almost never. That thing travels so slow.
No, but you could just snapcast it as you kite back. No, it will definitely affect it.
When you're getting, let's say, when you're getting like ganked or when you're when you're in a team fight, then this will affect it. But when you're just in lane, like trading, I don't think it affects it that much.
Well,
ganking is involved in laning, so of course
it's true.
Affect it.
No, I do think it's going to be again much. They're going to get a lot more use out of the E. I think my question is because I think if I understand correctly, I think right now Janna is maxing W right for that poke in lane. Now I'm wondering. And it used to be before, I think you maxed E. Is that correct? Before? Because of just the shield?
Yeah, you maxed E.
Way back
so now
you maxed W.
Yeah, so I'm wondering what you max now. What do you guys think? Is it still
W?
I'd
still say you max E. No, I'd say you max E now.
You max E now, for sure. You're super incentivized. You get your shield's value is up now, the cooldown is down now, and also it will come up more often.
I would never max Q, no matter what, because the chances of you...
Q's too unreliable.
I'd say landing your Q isn't the easiest thing on Janna, especially if you're against a passive lane. If you're against a lane that always engages, like something like Leona, I guess you could max Q, because Janna Q stops lots of channels, right? It stops Leona Lance, it stops Alistar combo, it stops Zac jump.
Yeah, I think you're right in the maxing of the E, and it seems like that's what Riot wants you to do anyways. They nerf the damage of W, so it's looking like you're basically trying to get that W just so that you can get the E again. So
there is a chance
the faster you can max it, the better. Yeah.
There's a chance that you stick with the W max just because the cooldown reduction the E
good point.
Would make it so that the bigger cooldown you have, the more of a benefit you have. So let's just say you have the E up, you use it, it's on a 16-second cooldown, I believe. Right. Yeah, 16 seconds. And then you W, all of a sudden it's 4 less seconds, so it's almost like you leveled it up again. That's obviously not like ideal because you do get the increased in shield percentage, like the actual size of the shield by leveling it up, but you might still see some aspect of W max poke because the W does go down in cooldown when you level it up as well.
Yeah, but the damage also goes down by quite a bit.
It goes down.
A rank 5 character that only gets at max 100 AP a game at full build or less.
Maybe it could be one of those mixture things. You know how sometimes Threshers will max E and Q. A couple points in each. It'll have to take some kind of tinkering with to see what the optimal route is. But again, I like it because it gives you some options, and you're not just kind of point and click.
Also, something that is kind of underspoken about this patch is Guinsoo's is nerfed. So the Guinsoo's ADCs are out of the meta, and somewhat out of the meta, and the crit ones are coming back. So that's why shield max would be super imperative. If Janna comes back, you would definitely want to be multiplying that crit ratio a lot higher because
my Kai'Sa is still going strong.
Kai'Sa can build whatever the hell she wants.
I know, that's true. Kai'Sa's kind of an exception.
Oh yeah, my Manamoon Kai'Sa has like 100% win rate.
I have no idea why that became so popular.
I don't know either. Okay. All right, anything else on Janna before we move on? I actually kind of want to try this now, just to get on Josh's nerves. So,
I mean, no. I would rather you pick Janna. Like, if anything, what would piss me off was you picking Janna before the change.
Yeah.
Right? Because it would be like like anyone with like half.
He's a little happier now. Yeah, he's a little happier.
So now it's like I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't even mind playing Janna, right?
Oh, okay. So he's coming around, guys. He's coming.
Change.
This has got to, right. You're making the right moves. You're making the right moves.
I think I played Janna with League Dad once.
Yeah, you have. I wasn't laning with you, but I do remember that. So, all right, let's move on to the next champ. What do you guys want to talk about next? Otherwise, I'll just go down the list. But is there anybody else you wanted to prioritize?
Quick note on Amumu. I'm very sad he got nerfed. But I don't think
why did they do
this? I think he's very sad as well.
Yo, why? Why they gotta do that to my man? The mummy, why?
I don't know. This might be a bit off topic, but did anyone see LS's reaction to the?
I did.
I like it.
I saw his patch notes, but I don't remember his reaction.
I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah, Mumu.
He was so angry. Like the guy, he flip shit. Like he started swearing, and he's like, "I'm definitely getting demonetized now." And then he's like, I don't want to carry on doing the patch notes because I'm gonna go against a Twitch TOS.
I mean, what do you guys think though? Was Amumu that? Oh, I mean, I know he was top tier, again, but do you think it was that?
No,
OP?
but the reason I think LS was so mad is because no one the only elo this touched was low elo, right? And you can hear some of the things he said were like, if you guys just stuck to playing Annie, this wouldn't be happening to Amumu. Because so what he's trying to say is if you go to LS's stream and you pay him for a VOD review, let's say 80% of the time he'll say something like just play Annie.
Yeah, play a simpler champ. Yeah.
But what everyone else is doing, instead of going to LS stream and going to play Annie, people are going and then playing Amumu. And then Amumu works really well in low elo as well. So now they're nerfing Amumu, which is, I think, really bad, because why are you nerfing Amumu if it's only touching, bronze, silver, iron?
Well, that is a big chunk of the community, though.
It's true.
I want to step in here because I feel like there's some misinformation going on.
Come on, let's go. Bring it.
Amumu has been top tier, top 3 jungler in every single elo except for Masters and Challenger. Diamond... down to bronze, down to iron, I should say. He is top 3.
Every server?
I don't actually know. I know it's at least on NA.
Okay, because when I play on EU, I'll see an Amumu let's say once every 15 games. Not even. The last time I saw an Amumu was probably in 2 weeks ago, maybe. You don't see Amumu much.
To be fair, I don't see him much either. But I
play flex. I play normals. I play solo, right? I play every elo, right? Because my flex rank is silver, and my solo is a plat, right? So I'm basically playing in most elos, because silver plays with bronze and gold.
Yeah.
Plat plays with
U.GG says that he's rank 7 right now in terms of play rate.
Yeah, I don't think he's played as often as we think. I mean, I know he's been top.
Yeah, he's not played. His win rate is really good.
But I don't think win rate is a good indicator, because
his play rate is decent. It's not like it's low. It's
30. It's pretty high in jungle.
Yeah.
That's after the nerf.
And U.GG.
Wait, no, it's not nerfed yet. It's not nerfed.
U.GG had him in tier list high too. Yeah. The patch is out now. Yeah.
Oh,
9.11.
Oh yeah, we are on 9.11. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, all right. So let's talk about it real quick. Hold on. So real quickly, this is what they did. His passive, Curse Touch, the bonus true damage on cursed targets, they nerfed it from 13%. Well, they reverted it, I guess, 13% down to 10%. And so obviously it's going to make his damage output weaker,
a little bit smaller. So this nerf, I think it's a stupid nerf. Not because I don't think Amumu wasn't strong. I just don't think it was really that big of a deal. His bonus true damage, 3%, that's going to take about 10 to 15 damage off of his ult late game, and then 3 to 4 damage off of his E, and 4 to 5 damage off of his Q. It does nerf his enabling tactics, where if you ult the whole team, all of a sudden your AP mage is going to be able to clean up. But it's really not that big of a nerf. It just feels like such a pointless nerf to do, considering that I do think he's very strong, but I don't think that this is the way to nerf him. It just doesn't matter very much.
I mean, for me too, like, I don't know why. There's a lot of other, I think, higher play rate, strong junglers that they could have touched and they didn't. So that's my kind of little gripe with it. Go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, I was gonna say, I also think I always find it hilarious when I read their justifications. We're reverting the Amumu's passive buff from 9.8, choosing this line specifically because too much of his strength is tied up in his passive, and we want to keep the rest of his abilities feeling strong.
Yeah. What?
So basically, his passive was too strong. So instead of buffing his other abilities or whatever,
they nerf his passive.
We'll just nerf his passive so that his other abilities feel comparatively stronger.
Oh, jeez.
There's
that's hilarious.
That is
There's an
pretty
interesting
funny.
line to go with this too, because a very small subset, and it wasn't very good, but it was fun. A very small subset of players were actually going full AP Amumu, or at least mostly full AP Amumu, where you get Lion Injuries, Rylai's, Runic Echoes, Death Cap, stuff like that. And with your W and your passive, you can solo Baron in under 10 seconds because there's no cap to monster damage. There's no cap to monster damage on his W, so it's something like 10% max health damage on his W every second. Wow. It just melts through Baron and stuff. And it also made his ult hit like a truck because I think it's like a 9
ratio. Really?
Yeah, there's no cap. No.
All right. Well, you'll see me on the Rift.
I know, right? I'm gonna have to test that.
It's very odd.
Okay.
There's too many junglers to try out at this point. Ugh.
I know, dude. That's why I kind of like the jungle. This is a little off topic, but I feel like there's just so many champions to play on jungle.
I'm gonna stick to my ADC now. That what is it? So many ADC skins are out there.
That's true. That's a good point.
Ezreal, then there's Tristana just came out, and Jin's coming next patch.
Oh, the Jin one looks really good.
Jin has so many good skins. Why do they keep giving him good skins?
Hey, this is like the people that come up to me and say, why are Lux and Ezreal getting
Lux
skins?
and Ezreal always getting skins. Because they make money,
leave
man.
my Lux and Ezreal alone.
Look, man, I mean, it's just because there's a big player base.
Better skin than Project Jin or SKT Jin or Blood Moon. They're such good skins.
I hate Blood Moon.
All three.
Like, I'll agree with you on you with Project and what is it, SKT. But I hate the auto attack sounds of Blood Moon. It's really, really bad. Like I hate Popfire Caitlyn as well.
Hey, you know what I think? This is before we move on, I think we should make a mental note and say that we should definitely have an episode where we rank our top 10 skins in the game. We'll just talk about them.
That's a good idea.
My number one will always be Mafia Jinx.
Well, no spoilers.
That's just because you liked it. Yeah, don't spoil it. Make your list, guys, and we'll come back and see. We'll compare notes. All right, let's move on to Akali, because I know Akali has been one of those champs that has been really tricky to kind of balance around. He's frustrating to play against, but at the same time, didn't really have that high of a win rate. But still, when you play against Akali, it feels like this champ is broken. Here's what they did. The passive energy refund has decreased later, and the damage ratio has decreased. So the passive, Assassin's Mark, the energy refund was 10 scaling to 30. Now it's 10 scaling to 20. The damage ratio was 0.9 bonus attack damage and 0.7 ability power. Now it's 0.6 bonus attack damage and 0.5 ability power, which seems like a substantial amount. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Is this going to put Akali in the grave?
Hopefully.
No.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
I hate Akali. I hate being against her.
Yeah.
So just like at a glance, because I've been picking up Akali. First of all, it's like Akali just tends to do a lot of damage. Like if you've ever died to a relatively fed Akali or just a Gunblade Akali, like she'll kill you with energy to spare.
Yep.
So, and this is only touching her passive. The energy refund's kind of nice for like people to counterplay a little bit. But the AD ratio, which was the biggest nerf from 0.9 to 0.6, is like negligible. You get 40 AD from Gunblade.
Yeah, Gunblade,
like,
and that's about it.
So I mean, like, that's the only AD you'll ever be getting for bonus AD, unless you do the Triforce. It does kill Triforce and Death Stance Akali.
Yeah,
but
it also nerfs when you get Infernal Drakes and Baron and stuff like that.
I think all of
Regina Shield.
You're not wrong about all those single-digit nerfs, but the AP ratio from 0.7 to 0.5 is kind of big. Like she does do a lot of damage with that passive, but at the end of the day, Akali's her Q is on like a 1 second cooldown, and it's like it also slows.
Yeah.
So and her ultimate next to Q with the micro stun. I mean, like there's enough damage in her. She'll probably be at the point where you can't just randomly pick her up and like crush another melee character.
Yeah.
But I think pro players will still pick her into matchups. Like I think Akali is a flawed champion. Like they're gonna keep touching her numbers until she's like completely garbage.
Yeah.
And then they'll
it's
either
the same thing that happened with Aurelia a couple months ago. The champion just overtunes, and it's gonna get to the point where they just have to.
Well, I wouldn't say the champion's overtuned number-wise. I think the kit is overtuned. Like the kit is broken.
Yeah.
It's going to get to the point where they're going to have to remove more from the kit. They've already removed the true stealth. They've already removed the healing on Q. What else are they going to take out now? They're going to take out the execute on her ult. They're going to take out her E. They're going to like cap her E range or something like that. It's just going to. There's something going to have to change.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
They just need to revert her back to old Akali because I miss my champion.
No,
that's all I gotta
say. Old Akali was so brain dead.
Come on, man, I love it. We need champions like that.
90% ranked win rate with old Akali.
Yeah, they do have champions like that. They have Sivir, they have Master Yi, they have Rise.
I hate all of you.
I think it's a good nerf because I don't want to see my top lane Akali running Conqueror and staying alive.
That's true.
10 minutes does take that doing damage while still being able to one-shot me.
Yeah, I think they definitely have pushed Akali more to the AP burst assassin that she is.
The electrocute, I'm going to get one shot and I'll gladly die playing my ADC.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I mean, they've already nerfed her W, so it definitely looks like they're trying to tweak her some more, so we'll have to see how it plays out, maybe in the fact-checked episode.
I know Professor Akali hated these changes. And
the thing is...
Why would you like nerfs, though?
Yeah.
He not only said, I don't like the nerfs, he's like, I'm never going to play Akali again. He literally made a video saying, this completely destroys Akali, I don't want to play the game anymore.
He hasn't been playing Akali anyways. Yeah, I know.
Like, I'll never touch Aatrox again.
Take your nerfs like a man.
I know, he's fine. Exactly. He's fine. I mean, we'll just get clickbaited anyway, so...
Yeah, see, if you play...
Nerfed Akali is still OP!
Yeah, I was wrong. Yeah.
My parents divorced me after this game.
Yeah.
Night Blue, oh my.
I think we need some clickbait titles for our podcast. Four guys discuss
what
the patch.
What? 9.1 patch notes?
I mean, it's...
What? Styleautumn likes e-girl supports now?
What?
What?
I'm e-girl support master, actually. I'm gonna get to Diamond playing only Yumi. Mark my words.
Geez.
Yeah, you and the other 1,000 people who are gonna be abusing her when...
Yo, I'm telling you, man, I've played with some Yumis who have like 50,000 mastery points already, and I'm like, they're pretty good. Like, I'm like, okay, it's no joke,
a good
man.
Character. It's gonna be...
I agree.
Mark my words.
Speaking of, I did play...
I can't complain.
Yeah.
I can't complain about e-girls, right? Because I literally play Lux ADC every game.
That's true. Yeah, you have no right. So what I was saying is I played one game of Yumi, and I had a blast. Did we win? No. Did I feed? Yes. But
can you win with Yumi? No. Can you have fun? Yes.
You can have fun. I think it's just a matter of playing in and out of, when you attach. Anyways, that's another subject. But let's go on to Echo. Echo got a quality of life change. So basic attacking after E no longer delayed due to animation. That, I think, pretty cool. I mean, I used to play Echo quite a bit, so I think that'll be a lot smoother to play, because there'd be sometimes where I'm like, where's the auto? And so I don't know how it plays out. I haven't tried it, but any thoughts on that QOL change? I don't know if you guys play Echo at all. I think that's going to make a big difference.
It makes his auto attack reset a lot smoother, because I believe E is an auto attack reset.
Yep, it is.
It'll make his trades a little better in lane. You might see him a little more as like a counter pick in top lane. I'd really like to see Tank Echo back. Some sort of like Grasp of the Undying.
Oh gosh, no.
Tank Echo. That'd be fun.
I'm sorry, man. I think you're on your own there. I used to play Echo a lot. And
I mean, it doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah.
We'll see. I like it. I
played it a couple of games.
I already said Echo is really strong. I don't know why they keep buffing him. So he's going to pop off at some point. Someone in I watch LPL very extensively. Someone in LPL, I forgot which mid laner, it literally just plays Echo blind pick anyways. So it's like I just legitimately don't understand which Echo player was out there saying Echo's
we
too
need a
weak right now.
buff. Yeah, he's too weak.
I don't even see Echo players, so maybe they just want him to come back because he is.
I've never seen an Echo player.
It's just a clean. It's just to make it easy.
Well, look. I don't think anybody knows the mind of Riot. Apparently, they have data that we don't know. But anytime they make changes, we're like, what? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, but my problem is people who play Echo jungle. Okay, don't do that. I don't want to see Echo jungle in my game. His clear times are abysmal.
Yeah, I will say that I don't like Echo jungle either.
It's so bad. I had Sejuani. I had Echo on my team. They had Sejuani, and she got clapped. Somehow we still won though, because he can split push like a monster.
Yeah. I mean, later on it's not bad. Echo jungle later, I mean, he just becomes kind of like Echo, but early is pretty dumb. All right, let's move on to Gragas. Base health, health growth, attack damage increase. So they're giving the fat man some buffs here. Increasing the early durability, helping out his early clear speed. So the health got buffed from 583.5 to 600. His health growth was 89, now it's at 95, and his attack damage was 61.4, now up to 64. Again, they're targeting his early clear speed and durability. You think this brings Gragas back into the meta?
100%.
Kevin says 100%. Okay,
so the health growth 6 times 17 is what, 102, and then you add that with the 16.5 he already gets, so that's 118.5 extra health, which is nice.
But Thunderhawk is 30% on top of that.
Yeah, so and then attack damage getting only it's 2.6 AD, and we meme about 5 AD or whatever, but that's pretty big. I mean, you're autoing a ton in the jungle, so
that's true.
Honestly, Gragas is okay. He's already he benefits because Skull spawns at level 3, so at level 3 Gragas is very, very good. Mm-hmm. So he can just do his 3 clear back, get his boots, get to the crab slightly late, and if he gets the crab, then he's Gucci. He can predator over gank, have crab control, and him being strong, he was already pretty damn strong, before they nerfed him. I think this is only bringing back the power they took out. I forgot what they took out though. So
okay.
I don't know.
So
if the
Kevin thinks that the fat man is back. I'm probably gonna have to try him now because Kevin said that his brings him back. So
let me try it before I give my stamp of approval. But my first impression is base stats are.
I've seen a Gragas. I saw Gragas today.
Okay. I feel like Gragas can do work.
No, I saw a great AP Gragas top in one of my games today. He wasn't doing too bad.
I feel like
this is supposed to target his jungle,
yeah, if you're good enough at him. I mean, his ult's just such a really good ability if it's used correctly.
Yeah.
And of course his body slam, flash body slam is one of the most bullshit abilities in the game.
Oh, yeah.
It's literally impossible to counterplay it.
It's true.
Just flash. Predict when he's gonna flash.
Just to predict. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, a lot of champs do the same thing, right? Shen does it, Jarvan does it.
It's true.
I don't think you can just say it's a bullshit ability by Gragas, right? Because all the champions with the same mechanic can do that.
That's true.
Yeah, but you don't see Shen in the jungle very often.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess.
Yeah, I think
that's kind of
be pretty happy about it. Panunu or whatever.
Panunu, yeah. His Gragas is insane though. The way he
carried me through a game a month ago, I was very happy about that.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna definitely have to try it. It looks fun. All right, let's go to Karthus because this champ, again, so they actually touched a champ. Now, you said that they made some balance changes, but here's what the patch said. They nerfed the R. It was 250 scaling to 550. Now it's 200 scaling to 500 and plus 0.65 ability power, which it looked like they nerfed. Is that still correct? Or let me look up to the balance change.
They didn't do the AP ratio nerf. They refer to the AP ratio. So basically, they just took 50 damage off his ult at every level.
Gotcha. Yep, they took 50 damage off the ult. They did not nerf the ability power scale. So does that do anything to him? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that really...
It makes his early game ult even more terrible, but I don't think it really affects his late game that much.
Yeah, late game is still going to be...
His late game will be negligible. It won't matter. He'll have enough Dark Harvest stats by then. It just means that he might have trouble cleaning up kills early game, and that is kind of a big deal.
Sure.
Your first Karthus ult is sort of like your first Nocturnal. If you fail it, you're like...
Yeah.
The next 3 minutes, I guess I'll just be farming.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot harder to time
Shen as well
for a gank.
Yeah. Actually,
Well,
I'm curious, Style, you play in EU. Do you still see Karthus over there? Because we don't see him often.
We see
even when
Karthus
he's OP
more.
here.
Like we see a lot of Karthus, even in like EU LCS. You see Karthus banned like every game.
No, but like right now on this patch is what I mean.
I haven't seen. I mean, this patch has only been out for like a couple of hours, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I've seen.
I haven't. I've played like what 6 games? 6 games today.
Yeah.
In none of those games, I saw a Karthus. Actually, I saw him in one game, but wasn't.
You heard it here.
Karthus jungle.
I played against one.
If you look on u.gg and you look on this patch and you look on what is it, Trondo, he has 100% win rate. So.
Yeah.
Go play Trondo now.
Go play Trondo. No, I say if you lose what?
If you lose, then you blame. Destroy the win rate, so it's all your fault.
Yeah, I'm not doing. That's too much pressure. I'm not doing that. No way. No, but I played against a Karthus earlier today. I was Nunu, and really, like, honestly, I don't think. Like, if you can invade her early or mess with her early game a lot, I think this delays her even more. Because if you just let Karthus, scale freely, you're in for it. But I think we did enough to kind of delay, and then even with the lower alts, delaying that even more. He did get a few kills. First of all, is Karthus a guy or a girl? I said she earlier.
Yeah, he's a witch. So I think
it's a witch.
Voice actors and
a lich.
Oh, it's a lich. I thought you said witch.
Or a witch.
I'm telling you, we need a segment on is this a guy or girl,
man? Are
you
assuming his gender?
No, I'm still trying to figure it out. I said.
Well, see, this is what I'm saying. Okay, write this down. Also, future podcast segment. Is this a guy or girl? We could get in a lot of trouble, but I'm honestly have questions because there are some champs I just don't know. Anyways, I'll say Karthus. I'll just for the sake of. Not
on the
confusing.
On the wiki. Upon taking fatal damage, Karthus remains active for 7 seconds, rendering himself.
Okay, he's a guy.
Attack or use items.
Okay, great.
Yeah, the wiki's the Bible. That's true.
Thank you. All right, Karthus.
No, that's what the tooltip says.
You heard it here first, guys. Karthus is a guy. Okay, so
what I was first, they're assuming his gender.
What I said, what I was saying is that I think if you delay him enough, it's gonna hurt him even more. I mean, that's kind of how you had to play against him, anyways, because. He does struggle a little bit early game. At least when I play him, I always struggle early game. So if you can get in there and disrupt that, then you're just going to slow him down even more. So, anyways,
I don't really like Karthus in the jungle because I don't like playing against him because I think his level of interactivity is so low.
Yep.
Where it's like Gangplank, where no matter where he is on the map, he can kind of assist in a kill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's really frustrating. And in late game, you can kill him in a team fight. And he still does half your team's health with his ult. It's really stupid.
Especially
I don't like
with tanks not being meta still.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Like I said, if you ever have problems, just try to pick an early game jungler and destroy the crap out of them. I feel like that seems to work out pretty good. All right, Master Yi. All right, let's talk about this champ because I don't like this champ at all. But bonus attack speed at level 1 is removed. I didn't even know he had an attack speed buff at level 1. Q isolated, target damage decreased. Yeah, a lot of junglers.
That change didn't go through.
Oh, it did it?
Yeah, the Q change.
Oh,
no,
they did it.
A lot of junglers have that bonus attack speed at level 1 because it was a long time ago. I think it was at least season 7 when they changed the jungle for the umpteenth time. A lot of champions were having trouble clearing the jungle.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or at least getting that red buff or the blue buff done correctly. So they gave a very large amount of champions that bonus attack speed. I think Jax has it.
So they didn't give it to everyone.
They didn't give it to every single person in the game, but they gave it to most junglers that were struggling. And I think back then you was struggling, so they just decided to take it out now.
I wonder why, because I feel like isn't his clear pretty weak early? I'm not sure. Or
it's not bad, especially with the isolated target damage.
Yeah, and you said they didn't go through with that, so it's still 25% attack damage.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
so that's pretty good.
That's still pretty strong. I mean,
that's good.
It just means he'll be a little weaker and clearer and a little slower.
Yeah, so this almost changes nothing because you get level 2 off of 1 camp. So this changes almost nothing. Maybe you'll have like 50 less HP after red buff. I don't know. It's such a stupid change. So it feels like nothing.
Okay. Well, let's move on then. Rammus. Rammus is top tier jungler. I actually haven't seen that many Rammuses though, but that's probably because I ban them every game I play. So there's that.
He's very
But
strong.
yeah. So the passive basic attack damage flattened our damage decrease. So the passive spike shell, basic attack damage was what is this 8 to 20 based on level. Now it's 10 at all levels. And then the tremors, the DPS was 40 scaling to 120. Now it's 30 scaling to 90. So a lot less damage.
That's a huge hit. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big damage reduction there. What do you guys think though? Does Rammus, yeah, is he still top?
I don't think this really affects his ganks at all. Because the damage from your ult really isn't going to make that much of a difference in like a 1v1 or a 1v2. It does make his team fights a little less strong because you aren't doing. How long does the tremor last? I think 5 seconds. You aren't doing an extra
5 or 6 seconds.
You're not doing an extra 150 damage. It's really not that big of a deal. The reason you play Rammus is because you're into something like a Master Yi or a Jax, and you want to just make your life miserable and taunt them, or even something like a Kaisa or a Kog'Maw. Then you just melt them with their own auto attacks, and I don't think this changes that really at all. It does make his clear a little less good because of the spiked shell nerf, but his clear is fine. He's gonna be okay.
His clear is relatively healthy because of the Center Hulk buffs too, but
that's true.
I personally think it's actually a huge nerf because his late game with that 120, he used to be able to 100, 0, and 80 carry, just like solo, as long as 80 carry didn't have QSS. So like,
that's. I mean, a lot of that is because of the taunt and the
thorn mail usually buy
the thorn mail damage. Yeah,
sure, but like 120 AOE damage that can also hit turrets is like a lot of damage to nerf down by 30. I mean, obviously he should still do what he does well, but the things that you were picking him for are definitely like severely toned down, and also it lasts for 8 seconds.
8 seconds? Wow,
so that's
long.
So like, let's think about it this way. It's 120 base damage multiplied by 8, which is 960. Now it's 90 times 8, which is 720. That's
so you're losing about 200 damage.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a.
I don't know. I think that you'll still see Rammus as like he just kind of just shaved a little bit off of what made him exceptional. I think he'll still be really good.
I think
he'll be decent,
I'll still be banning him if I'm picking someone like Zen or an auto attack champ. But yeah, I'd like to see what happens because he has been strong for quite a bit. So let's go to Warwick. I actually like this change. I haven't played much Warwick lately, but they increased the Q healing late. So it was 30% scaling to 70% of damage dealt. Now it's 30 scaling to 90% of damage dealt. And I believe most of the time you max W. Some people would max Q, but they increase the healing late. Do you guys think this?
So
I don't know. He's not really a late game champion though, is he? Like, I mean, I don't know.
No. Okay. So this is a weird change because I actually wasn't aware that people max W. What I used to do is I used to put 2 to 3 points into W and then just max Q.
W for sure though.
Yeah.
And now I think that it might be a little bit more viable to not like. I think you just put 2 points into W or 3 points into W now and max Q because of this. I played 3 games of Warwick today with that style.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I believe I was like 100 HP. I Q'd the Gromp and it healed me 3/4 of my health bar. It was insane.
That's awesome.
It was ridiculous. It was almost comical how much it healed me. I think it definitely gives him a lot more dueling potential because having 20% more of a healing on your Q is insane, especially with press the attack because your Q does do more damage with that. And it might even encourage him to build Sheen in his builds now. Maybe building it into a Triforce or a Frozen Gauntlet. Just because it does give you more damage to heal off of.
Well,
Wit's End is another good item.
How did you find the games like later in the stage of the game? Like, did it make a difference?
If you build Wit's End, you can still melt squishies really quickly with your ult and Q and on auto attacks. If you don't build Wit's End, you struggle late game doing any sorts of damage, but you're still a really good beefy peel CC champion.
Cool. Real quickly to interject, Steel Hunter said Halo Blades Yi is the new build I've been seeing with the crit build. You guys say that real quick?
Ever since the Conqueror nerf, and the change to Master Yi, I think Halo Blades is a lot better because he has become a lot more of a bursty champion.
Okay.
Good enough. That makes sense.
How to lethal tempo?
Lethal Tempo has just sort of never been that good on anyone except for like Kog'Maw and sometimes Ashe and Sliver. Jinx, yeah.
Nice.
You see it a lot more on ranged champions than melee because it's just so much harder to make use of attack speed on melee champs.
Yeah.
Because you are going to get kited.
Okay.
A lot.
What did they fixed a bug with
Vayne? I don't know. I've seen it on EU. You see Lethal Tempo so much. You see it on Twitch.
Really?
You see it on Kog'Maw. You see it on like a lot of ADC.
I think you saw Lethal Tempo pretty much. I think you saw Conquer pretty much exclusively on EE until recently. At least I did, anyway.
Yeah.
On EU, you did. So either Lethal Tempo or Conquer. It was like a mix. I've never seen Halo Blades even now.
It's become a lot more because of the crit. Having even 3 autos being really quick is.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I ban Yi every game.
Yes, well,
Yi, like the way Yi works, wouldn't uncapping his attack speed going up 8 seconds or 6 seconds, however, I think 6 seconds for Lethal Tempo, wouldn't that just be significantly better? Because Yi, yeah, he's more bursty with this new build, but he still like benefits hugely.
I think crit Lethal Tempo Yi would be decent.
Well, yeah, because like
the problem with Lethal Tempo is that you have to wait. There's a warm up period.
Yeah.
And attack speed is good, but a lot of the times you're not just going to be free hitting on people. You're going to have to be moving with your autos. You're going to have to be moving if they're running away from you. You're going to have to be dodging skill shots. Just like if you're just attacking like a Baron or something, which you can't proc Lethal Tempo off of anyway, attack speed's fine. But if you're trying to run down something like a Jax or something, I don't know, any champion, it's going to be a lot harder to make use of like 3.0 attack speed effectively.
It's true.
Right, but the same thing can be said for Hail Blades. If I go up against a Jax, Hail Blades 4 autos are literally wasted on Counter-Strike, and it's completely worthless.
Well, yeah, you don't auto into it, the Counter-Strike. You wait for it. And Jax was just an example, I guess.
That's a big example. I think
yeah, that's right.
It's a lot easier to get those first autos off before they start running away, and then just chase them down.
I mean, does it matter what rune you take if I'm gonna ban it anyway?
No, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. He's one of those champions.
That's why we gotta figure it out.
Okay, really quick, guys. The most important change I wanted to talk about, because it affects me personally, because I'm Challenger and all, but the Challenger recall is in effect, you know?
Finally!
So I've been waiting for this for a long time, guys. I've been wanting a way to flex and show people that I'm Challenger, right? And so
when did they first announce this?
I don't know. I don't know. But it says it's only in unranked queues. Oh wait, no. Oh yeah, so in unranked queues, Challenger players will now see a special recall animation in game. In ranked queues, Challenger players will only see the special recall animation in the particular queue they're Challenger in. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you're
Challenger, I want to see it.
All be flashy against each other.
What? I don't know.
If you're Challenger in 3v3s, you won't be seeing the Challenger recall.
I gotcha. So only that.
Okay. Yeah, but you'll see it in normals, right? So this is what you do.
Yeah,
you get Challenger 3v3, and then you
go to normals
exclusively.
All right, who's climbing? Who's climbing with me just to get the recall?
3v3s are brutal, man. People win trading.
No, it's so easy to play 3v3. I think I knew like.
Have you gotten Challenger in 3s before?
No. So basically, I used to duo queue. I used to duo queue with this guy, and he was like plat, right? He was the same level as me, but his 3v3 was Challenger.
Yeah, no, I have friends who are 3v3 Challenger who were 3v3.
People win trade in Halo 3s because the queues are so easy to snipe. Like, if you just queue at the same time as somebody else, you are guaranteed to get into the game, even if you're like 2 divisions above or below them. So you can just
forgot that 3s was still a thing.
I mean, I actually didn't know.
I haven't forgot that thing because I get it to gold so I can get my chroma.
Oh, there we go.
I learned the game through 3v3 actually, so I'm really surprised that like it's so dead right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I just wanted to throw that out there because Challenger.
Yeah, 3v3s.
Don't worry, guys. When I get to Challenger, I'll flex my border on Discord.
3v3s is the most played mode behind Aram and Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, but
Wow.
I'd
Wow.
rather play
Thank you.
33s than play
You
air
learn
out.
something new every day, my friend. Thank you. And then for you guys, if you see on the Rift when people are running out the base with like the home guard buff and you see the rainbow, if you didn't know how to get that, it's basically because there's an icon that you can buy for 1 blue essence, and it'll it'll give you that nice little rainbow when you're.
Yeah, I remember trying to explain it to the league dad how to get it. My
Boy,
lord.
that was tough. Yeah, that was tough. But they extended
it was literally on the
so-
top.
Yeah, they extended it. So now I'm really happy about it. And I've had it. So they're not going to remove this, are they? Because I like this rainbow thing, man.
Oh wait,
They're removing it in a few
They're definitely
patches.
removing
They
it.
are
They're
removing
it.
extending the duration. Where
Why do
you
I always
can
got to
use it
do
for.
that, man? Oh, okay,
Because it's-
whatever.
Because you
can't we
can't
have full
have
thing?
something like, because the reason they did it was for what is it, gay pride, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They actually did it for like gay pride.
LGBTQA plus.
You can't have something like, so they have things like, what is it, Black History Month, right?
Yeah.
If you had Black History Month every month, it wouldn't be Black History Month, would it?
Yeah,
But
but
like Black
we
History
can.
Year.
But what if
Why
I
can't
want to
you
show
have it
my
for just
pride off?
yourself?
Yeah, or
Yeah,
what if I
what's
just
wrong
want
with
to show
showing
my
your own
pride?
pride?
Exactly.
Because
thank you.
knowing Riot, they'll release
That's right.
something like that, but they'll just
No,
make
no.
you
I'll
buy
tell
it
you
without
why.
They're
I'll
not
tell
gonna
you
make
why.
buy it.
Because they want to make
No, not
money.
this.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no, like for sure, they're gonna release something like you get a cool recall or you get a cool home guard, but they'll release it for money. I guarantee
I just
you. like,
want-
So are you
I
saying
just-
that they
now?
use gay pride to pilot this new
No,
system
no,
in their game?
I'm not saying they're gonna do it now
That's the
and they're
clickbait.
gonna have gay
That's
pride
the
to.
clickbait for the title.
It's a
Oh,
test.
God.
Yo!
But you're telling me,
Riot conspiracy.
but you're telling me
Yes.
if this is a money-making opportunity, Riot won't take it.
No, they will take it.
They're a
I don't know.
company. They have every right to make money as long as it's reasonable. I just thought.
Yeah.
No, I don't. They definitely won't do it for something like Rainbow Fluff,
Okay,
right?
okay, so that's what I
Go
got
to
confused about. I was
Yeah.
like, there's no way they're gonna charge.
I don't. No, they'll make it. They'll give you like, say you support G2, right?
Right.
You can have
Oh,
like
yeah.
so you have something like a G2 home guard, right?
Yeah, that
So
makes
when
sense.
you run out of base, the G2 emblem will follow you.
But what
Something
I'm
like
saying
that, right?
is, yeah. But what I'm saying is, why haven't they done certain things for like? I mean, I want voice announcer packs. I will happily pay for that. Like, I want people like where you have different commentators with the sound. Like, I don't know why they haven't monetized that yet. Like, I feel like that would be easy money. Just some aesthetics where I can change things like that. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think all of this is in this, like in the direction of that. Like things like challenger recalls, and then you'll be
Yeah.
able to buy like a certain type of recalls. I think they already did like the buying the recalls, right? So, but they only did it for a specific skin, right? If you bought the Kazakh skin, if you remember.
Oh, I don't know.
So they released
The
the
world skin?
championship Kazakhs, and
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
put the icon, you got
Yeah.
like you got a recall of the team you supported.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah. I
That's
remember.
cool.
Yeah, I have
Okay.
that. I had the liquid. one.
Yeah. Okay. So they have something like that. So I
Yeah.
think all of this is like going into that. Like it'll take that direction eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it will take, but like I guarantee you, like Riot's gonna do something with home guards.
I believe it.
They might not
Yeah.
make you pay for it, but they'll do like some sort of event, which is really good. I think it's really good because you have things like Rainbow Fluff. Maybe you have like something else, right?
Yeah.
It
No, I
might
think
not.
it's good.
It might not necessarily what is it, Rainbow Fluff, but
Yeah.
like real issues.
I want freaking fire, like
is literally how
smoke
fire-
trailing me as I'm running. I don't know. I'll take
That'd
whatever
be
I can
cool.
get.
I would. What I want is like a kill streak. Like if you get enough of a kill streak, you just like
Oh,
start glowing
Dude.
or something. Like, you know, like a juggernaut thing.
all right.
That would
Jot
look
this
fucking
down.
cool.
Another segment we're coming out with really cool ideas that we should get made, and if we do, we should have our name on
Yeah,
it. You know what I'm saying?
We should definitely get it named
All in
after.
podcast.
Real,
Exactly.
Real quick, there's actually some pretty big changes in the bug fixes for this
Okay.
patch as
Yes,
well.
look
there
at
was.
If we want to touch on those
Yeah,
really
right
quickly.
here. I got it up.
Um,
Go ahead.
the Draven R nerf, basically what happened was his Whirling Death,
Mhm.
the axes were going out, and when they came back in, they weren't decreasing. Like they're supposed to decrease on the amount of targets you hit. They weren't decreasing properly. So this is actually a pretty big nerf to
Okay.
his ult damage. So that's a pretty big deal. And then apparently Titanic Hydra was doing on-hit damage to towers,
I
which
didn't know
they
that.
apparently they just got rid of, which is actually a pretty big deal because
Yeah.
Titanic Hydra does like 50 on-hit damage or something.
Yeah.
Wait,
Which is
how did
gonna
no
nerf
one
split
notice
pushers
this?
like
Everyone- like a lot of
Jax,
people
so-
built
A
Titanic
lot of
Hydra
people
and
take that.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
So
play.
that's gonna nerf
don't
split pushes quite a bit.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's true.
Huh.
Okay.
And then apparently
what
Shaco's
else?
clone was doing less damage than it was supposed to, so now it will do more damage. So tiny buff to Shaco. Congrats.
Still
I
not
don't
gonna
want to
play.
see Shaco.
He's too hard.
Please put him away.
What
The
else?
Lysandra passive, the little guys that run around, they can no longer take Eye of Herald, the Rift Herald. So
What?
congrats for that.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah,
know that could happen.
Wait, would they take?
They could
it for
actually take
Lysandra,
the
or
Rift Herald
who would-
Eye.
who would get it?
Wow. Okay.
Nobody.
Weird.
It would just disappear. No, I'm not even joking. That's true.
Yo, that is so troll. Oh gosh. Okay. Wow.
And then the airy change for Death Stance, it means that when you have Death Stance and you get hit by airy, the airy no longer like jumps to you a bunch of times because you're taking that damage over time from Death Stance. So that's actually a pretty good change because one, that did extra damage to you, and two, it actually revealed where you were on the map. So if you were like running away and airy was chasing you, it really just like he's like, oh, he's over there, he's that way. So that's a nice change.
Nice.
They do need to change that it returns to you on damage over time for like Teemo, because when Teemo's invisible in a bush and you step on a shroom, Airy will snitch on Teemo so hard. She'll go right to Teemo like twice. Right exactly where he is invisible, so you can just jump on him.
That's funny.
I mean, if you're in a bush, you can just move after, right?
But but I mean, they'll know what bush you're in.
They'll know, yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Well,
that's about it, I think.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, no, it's good thing you brought that up because those are pretty big changes, even though they're bug fixes apparently. All right. Well, any last thoughts? All right, real quickly, one line. All right, go ahead. No, well, here's what I wanted to do. No, ask your question, and then I'm going to ask you guys one final question that you have to answer, that you have to make just one statement on when I ask you the question. But you go first, Kevin.
Yeah. Do you guys know when ProView is coming out? I want to buy it, but LCS in 2 days, and I don't see it.
LCS.
Okay. I think it's going to probably come out when LCS comes out.
What is this?
So it's like the Pro Pass that you can see like the POV streams and all the other extra features.
Yeah, it's literally the ability to like go through and watch Bjergsen's view of a game while you're watching the game.
I'm so hyped about that.
I swear they had it last season. Where
no,
they didn't have it last season.
They were piloting it, but now it's like you could literally have 4 streams up at the same time and watch all of like the junglers pathing and the ADC pathing.
Wait, do we get access to their comms though?
No.
The problem is it's live, so like the people who are like in the supports team would be like, well, I think they're gonna pick this next game.
Still, man.
I see what you mean. They say a lot of stuff in comms that they might not want.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, man.
There's a reason why Mic Check has to come out a couple of days after the match.
I mean, that's like with any sport, man. I want to hear the trash talking going on during the game. Okay,
it would be cool.
I would pay money for a live stream.
Seriously, come on, guys, Riot.
Good money.
See, guys, we need a segment. All ideas that should be made by the All In podcast guys. See, I'm telling you. All right, and then we'll get signatures and hand it on to Riot, and then they'll have to name it after us.
I'm done.
Just
we'll get some royalties too.
How do they collect the money though? Because like here it says if I'll pay $15 to watch LCS, but I would pay 15 euros to watch LEC. What if I don't want to watch LEC? Would I pay in euros?
No. So would I pay in dollars? You pay
$10 for LCS and 15 for everything.
Either, and then it's 20 for both.
Oh, 20 for both. Yeah.
So it says LCS for me because I'm LCS. It says $15 for the pass, and then it says $20 for the all access pass, which is all the participating regions. Which all I know are LCS and LEC.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe there are other regions.
So far, they'll probably add like LCK and stuff like that.
Yeah, China already has it, so like they're not gonna add.
Oh, they already have it. Okay.
Yeah, China's been doing it.
I don't really watch enough LCS to buy the pass. That's my.
No, I definitely don't. But it's a cool idea.
One or both.
So. No, for me, it's like I wouldn't be watching LCS. Option. If I watch both, then I wouldn't mind getting it. But like, if I only watch one.
Is it linked to your league account? It's got to be linked to your
league
account, right?
Probably,
yeah, it is linked to your league account. I mean, I always watch it with my league account to get my free rewards.
Right.
I was hoping it would be just like something you could log in, and that way you could just share it with your friends. So like, hey, can I watch?
There you go. Just like Netflix. Just like Netflix, man.
Yeah.
You can sync your viewing time with your friends, so you get a URL that lets you like all watch at the same time.
That's cool.
Yeah, but they have to buy it too, right?
What is it? Is it the bunny thing? What is it called? It's like a. thing where you watch shows online with your friends.
Yeah, it's just like
Rabbit.
Oh yeah, Rabbit. Yeah, Rabbit.
Rabbit or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but what were you gonna ask, Dad?
All right, so I got one question, just one sentence, and we'll go down the line. I'm gonna start with you, Kevin. So get ready. Biggest prediction for patch 11, 9.11. It could be anything. From all the changes we made, what do you think your biggest prediction is?
Oh, my biggest prediction?
Yeah. Anything.
Isn't the patch already live, or do you just mean like what's gonna happen during this?
Yeah. What do you think during this, because of the patch changes? What do you think the biggest thing is going to happen on the Rift? Like you could say, because of the changes, I think Zach Jungle is going to be the best jungler ever. I don't know. What do you think?
My predictions are that Yuumi is going to be a 95% or higher play rate and ban rate in pro play.
Okay, it's a good prediction.
I might be totally wrong, but
does LCS start on patch 9.11?
They have to, right?
Yeah, this is the
starting match. Okay,
I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Style. What about you? Do you have a prediction, Style?
My prediction is what is it? Jungle will become dead because Zach is bad champ now. I think Zach is bad. I don't like the Zach change. I don't like the Amumu change. I don't think jungle will be completely dead. I think there's going to be so much fighting.
There's a ton of good junglers, man.
There's so many good junglers.
No, I think there'll be good junglers. I think the jungle matchups are going to be relied on like counter jungling and lots of fights. I think people are just going to fight for everything now.
Yeah, okay. I do. I like that. I know Styles' prediction. He becomes a jungler.
I think it's a good thing for like, aggressive junglers and good early game junglers. But I think it's less good for
That's why I like Nunu.
I
like Nunu's.
I think, it means I can abuse Lee Sin when I get auto-filled into jungle.
There you go. All right. Well, that sounds fun. Okay. Well, my prediction for you is that you were going to become a Janna main, but let's go to Night.
That's already given. I told you.
Okay. All right. That's cool. No, I mean, you're not going to even be auto-filled anymore. You're actually going to queue it up.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm only going to play Janna and Yuumi and see where it takes me.
All right. Hey, man, watch. Next time we talk, you're going to be Diamond. You got over that hump. You know what I'm saying? You got over that Plat 2 hump. All right, Nighthawk, what's your prediction?
I think we'll see Zach win rate go down quite a bit, actually, because a lot of people are going to be coming back to him and being like, wow, Zach's changed. And they're going to play him, and they're going to be really bad at it.
So you think his play rate will go up, and then his win rate will go down?
Yeah. Okay. And then next patch, they're going to buff him, and something good will happen, and his win rate will go up.
Good prediction. We'll have to revisit those on maybe the fact-checked episode, see what happens. But, hey, guys, that's going to wrap up the show. If you guys have any questions, please email us at theallinpodcastlol@gmail.com, or you can tweet us at theallinpodcast. But, look, it's been a blast. Thank you to my co-host, Kevin, Style, Nighthawk, for being here. It's been really fun talking about these changes. Until the next episode, guys, enjoy your climb on the Rift. Try not to be too toxic, and we'll see you all next time. Peace.